Hello, everybody. Welcome to the virtual chapter for February 2021. We are excited to be with you. We've got a great guest for you tonight. And just want to let you know a couple of things before we start. If First of all, I am Michael Watson. I'm here in Orlando, Florida, and I am joined by my co-host. Say hello, Karen.
Hello, Karen. May I ask a quick question?
Sure.
Um, this is still January, isn't it?
Oh, it is. Oh,
I just thought, okay, time and isolation goes at the same time really fast and really slow sometimes. And I thought, oh my God, did I miss a month? Who was our
oh,
January guest? It was
they will
great.
tell you that Michael is really a forward-looking fellow, isn't he? So yeah, it is in fact January of 2021. It just seems like it's been a couple of months already.
It does.
Uh, and we do want to let everybody know, though, that if you're here tonight and you are a member of IACT or IMDHA or any of the number of friendly hypnosis organizations that will give you CEUs for being here, feel free to collect them. If you're a member of IACT or IMDHA, to get your CEUs, you just need to go onto the website, log in with your member ID, and there's a place where you can indicate the date and what it is that you did to earn some hours. Tell them you spent some time with Michael and Karen, and you thought that you should be compensated in some way for that, and and they'll take care of you.
They'll be happy to do that.
Yeah.
Yes. That
Uh,
goes whether you're here live or on the recording, by the way. So if you watch the recording, you can still get CEUs for that too.
And as we get underway, there's just a couple announcements, things that we wanted, a little announcements and a little bit of news. First of all, you may have gotten an email from Robert Otto in the last within the last week, letting you know that the IACT IMDHA conference this coming year in May will be virtual once again. We really were hoping that we were going to be able to, to get together, and looks like that's not going to be the case just yet. On the other hand, what a wonderful thing that we have this medium to reach out to and work with. So we're gonna have all of our presenters. We're gonna do all of our stuff. We actually did the first virtual hypnosis convention online last year. We were the first one up after the pandemic closed everybody down, and it went off swimmingly. It was great. So we're really looking forward to an even better time this year with more skill and and some more great presenters. So that's going to be that. Um, Karen, I've got like three announcements I want to make. Do you have any
I do.
stuff that you want to go ahead?
I
Go
have,
ahead.
I have a quick announcement. On at the IACT IMDHA conference on the day after a post-conference workshop, I'll be doing a full-day workshop on Zoom. We did it last year. It works great. I'll be doing a full-day workshop on the 24th for pandemic problem solving with the Help Out protocol. And I do that with Ashley Lynn Caputo. The Help Out protocol is a mixed modality approach to some of the things that we dealt with in the pandemic, still dealing with in the pandemic and isolation. We use hypnosis, we do some energy work, we use EFT and NLP, and Ashley is an expert in yoga and essential oils. So we even use essential oils to bring back taste and smell for some of the COVID long haulers who are having trouble with that. So we'll teach you all about that in the Help Out protocol. That comes up May 24th. Now, Ashley and I did a presentation on World Hypnotism Day on January 4th. We did an hour to introduce that. And many of the people who attended said, please don't make us wait till May 24th. So we'll have a full day workshop on May 24th, but Ashley and I have also decided to do 5 1.5 hour workshops between February 18th and March 18th. And if you're interested in the Help Out protocol, you can join us on those 5 nights and get the same thing. And you can get information by sending an email to me at karen@karenhand.com, and I'll direct you to all that info.
Right.
That's my announcement for now,
Right.
Mike.
Well, that sounds really exciting. the the uh, the board certified hypnotherapist program, by the way, was just this past weekend. We had 20 folks from the U.S. and Canada, and it was a great experience. Had a lovely time and some lovely people. And we've got the next thing coming up is the Galaxy of the Stars, which is February 6th and 7th. And just to remind you, the Galaxy of the Stars is 2 days. Each day has 2 presenters, so they're half a day presentations each. And we've had different themes through the various incarnations of this program. We've been doing it now for about 3 years online. This time, the sort of theme is innovations, and we're looking at people that are doing kind of one-off things or stuff that just aren't that every hypnotist isn't already doing and might find some use for. Particularly, we're starting out with Terence Watts. Some of you may know Terence from the UK. He runs a great hypnosis organization over there. He has a protocol called BWRT. I apologize that I don't remember exactly what those letters stand for at the moment, but it's some really good stuff, gets great reviews, and we're looking forward to having a half a day with him. Then we'll have a half a day with Freddie Jacquin. Some of you know Freddie. He wrote a lovely book just recently, by the way, about the art of hypnotherapy that I think is a delightful read. And he's just a lovely, lovely man. And he's going to talk to us about some rapid and innovative techniques that he uses in his practice. Then on Sunday morning, we will begin with Jess Marion, who will be presenting on deep trance identification, which is just this incredible work that she has done with DTI over the last several years. And we'll finish off with a lady named Johanna Lynn. And Johanna Lynn's going to be talking to us about family constellation therapy. Some of you are familiar with this. We tried to get, there's a lovely book by a guy named Mark Wolin, I think it is, called It Didn't Start With You. And this is kind of the basis of family constellation work. And we called him up. We really wanted to get him, and he just couldn't do it. But he said, here's the lady that you got to get. She runs workshops for me regularly and stuff, and she's got it down. So we're really looking forward to that. So that's going to be great. And here's the thing. Each one of these people has told us that they are going to make sure that you leave with something that you're able to do that you weren't able to do when you came. So I figure if you get 4 some things that you couldn't do before that are really unusual and powerful techniques for $99, that's a pretty good deal. So you need to get registered by the 15th of this month in order to get that rate. So please, in the next couple of days, register for that. You do it at the IACT or IMDHA website. Otherwise, it'll cost you $129, and it will be even more valuable then, because it will come with a lesson about registering on time to save yourself some money. So there we go. That's the one last thing that I have is the Certified Stress Management Consultant Program will be March 27th and 28th. So that's coming up. You can also get information about that at the IACT or IMDHA website. I think that's it. That's enough, isn't it?
Yes, you were talking about moving forward, and I think that's my cue to move this forward.
All right. Well then, Karen, I would like to. Oh, sorry.
This is a meeting for all of us. So if we think of something coming up, we can talk about it then, or you can let us know. If you think of something, let us know then too, right? But the main event tonight is my friend Randi Light. I'm delighted to call her my friend. And she's going to talk to us a little bit tonight about her essential 4. And I want you to know something. Here's a secret that you probably don't know. I've known Randi for a long time. I met her years and years and years ago at the Mid-America Hypnosis Conference, where she was voted Hypnotist of the Year in 2012, I believe. Is that right, Randi? Yeah. And I learned the essential 4 from her on a night in New York in a dark hotel room. We were all alone. Are you intrigued about what the essential 4 is now? Well, stick around and I'll tell you how that came about maybe, but she's going to tell us all about that. Let me tell you a little bit about her. Randi is an award-winning hypnotherapist, hypnosis instructor, author, healer, presenter, and peak performance coach. For the past 14 years, Randi has successfully hypnotized thousands of children and adults to breathtaking to break through barriers, to breathtaking heights is what I was trying to say, and achieve their goals. Her life work combines 35 years of research, training, and life skills to provide sustainable wellness solutions for personal and professional performance improvement. Now, Randi's Essential 4 Success System, that's what I was telling you about, establishes over a 90% success rate with private clients who are insomniacs, stressed, feeling stuck, anxious, depressed, or in chronic pain, but want to heal and become their best version of themselves. Randi also created a highly effective 4-step process for getting athletes, performers, and speakers in the zone. She communicates from the heart, gives her life to service of others. Randi's been trained in a number of healing modalities, including pediatric hypnosis, advanced DNA theta healing, alchemical hypnotherapy, EFT, Reiki, Qigong, and NLP. Randi was Hypnotist of the Year in 2012, as I said, from Mid-America Hypnosis. Additionally, Randi has served on boards for women and for the environment. In 2016, Randi was the recipient of the Black Pearl Award because of her dedication and commitment to serving women. And I know Randi well enough to know that she wouldn't bring us here without having a good idea of teaching us something. I mean, we're not just playing around here. She's going to show us something amazing. So I don't know, Randi, do you want to do something amazing right off the bat, or do you want to tell us a little bit more about the Essential Four? I don't want to put you on the spot or anything.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit, then it'll make more sense, and it'll be able to be more of a reinforcer of exactly the main points. So,
Yeah.
Right, well, I tell you what, I know something I'd love to ask you as we get started, if you don't mind, and that is, here we are in COVID-19 mode, and all of the changes, and so many more of us working online, and and all of that. How has COVID been for you in terms of work and what you're doing?
professionally, you mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So I mean, everything hit. If we ignore what when it all started shaking down, but in August and October, my business did 3 times the most it had ever done in 14 years in both months. I'm like, what, I mean, it's fascinating. That's how many, I mean, it's sad, but wonderful. I mean, it's very wonderful for that to happen where other people were having a hard time, but it was easy to switch to Zoom because I'd already been doing Zoom anyway, not all the time, but yeah, so that answers that. I was like, wow, my son made me look it up and really see how much more I brought in.
Mhm. Well, this came up in my class over the weekend. I have been busier than ever, and I think some people have. And somebody brought up the fact that they said, well, with the economy, I'm not seeing as many clients, and it's like that. That's just so. So I love to ask other people because that's just so not my experience. It has been as busy as it can be, and God knows I'm a lucky guy because I've been doing this virtual hypnotist stuff for several years before this happened. And I didn't have to think twice about making a transition.
Most of my business had already been on Zoom, thanks to you, Michael, and what I learned about that. So this was pretty easy. People still need the help.
Mhm.
So was there something else, Michael, before I push her to tell us a little bit about?
Yeah, that's it.
So tell us a little bit about what the Essential Four is, what it's all about, how you put the protocol together, how you use it for athletes and all of that.
So that's a little different though, but so the Essential Four it's a training manual, but and it's a success system that you can use with almost every single client, and it gets them to break through like anxiety, depression, insomnia, almost anything, and helps them become their best version of themselves. So when I realized like some clients would, maybe give 4 sessions versus 8 or 12, I was like, well, what can I do if my client's going to only invest in 4 sessions? What can I do in those 4 sessions that will be the most transformational, healing, and help them to get to that level? And that's how the Essential Four was born. And what I realized is I do a lot of techniques. I do stuff. That's what I noticed. I do stuff in hypnosis. Yes, I deliver suggestions, but I'm very technique oriented. And so the Essential Four, basically like the first session of the Essential Four is an opportunity for people to have a great hypnotic experience, and it builds confidence. It melts the stress, it resets systems, and it does what I call a little bit of emotional clearing in a light and easy way so people can have that great hypnotic experience. And then I do these specific techniques to help people respond more resourcefully to the world. And that's the foundation. That's the beginning of it. And what I like to do coaching combined with hypnosis. So it's not just hypnosis, but that first session, we're doing a lot of things. And then on the second, so then they come back like a week later. And now's not necessarily the time to get into the hypnotic cancers when I'm explaining the Essential Four, but I will in just a moment. And then we start to do some of the deeper work with them and doing regression to the root cause of the anxiety or the insomnia, and And each of the protocols, each of the sessions have different things that I call hypnotic enhancers, which I'll be explaining in a few minutes. But then when they come back another about week later, we do, get to the root cause of a dominant limiting belief and do timeline therapy. And so, we're building this foundation of confidence and melting the stress, resetting their systems, helping them respond resourcefully to the world. Then they're doing that emotional clearing and resolving and healing their history and their painful past so that they can create a bright and compelling future. So we're doing all of this also that prepares them for forgiveness. And so that's like the 4th session, forgiveness of self and others. A lot of people are not ready to do forgiveness on the first session. So the amazing thing is that the first session isn't a pain relief session, but like it takes people's pains away. The first session isn't really about sleeping better, but just going into hypnosis, sometimes just going into hypnosis can take people's pains away without even like delivering suggestions. And same with sleep, so then, but when you add the specific suggestions and things, it seems to be pretty effective.
So does that, let me see if I got this straight. Are your clients then scheduled for 4 sessions and you run them through that no matter what? Or is it happens,
No.
the techniques that you teach and use could come in 4 sessions or maybe extended to 5 or could be 3?
Yeah, so I offer like a 12 session, 8 session, or 4 session package, right? Depending on what people are going through and what's going on with them and how much stuff they have to deal with, and if their emotions have like really affected their physical body and they have got physiological, they've got diseases and different things. So, but I always include those 4 components pretty much no matter whether they do a 4, 8, or 12 session package, almost always. Not everyone's ready for 98% of the people are ready to do the first session, but there's if they're super anxious or super depressed or in the middle of going through a divorce, like in that like throes of intensity, I have to even back up a little bit farther and just get them to start feeling good and not do any type of emotional clearing.
Is there a way when they first call you to book the appointment to gauge whether it will be 4 sessions, 8 sessions, or 12 sessions? I mean, can you kind of tell when you talk to them what it's going to be, or does that evolve?
Both. The answer is both. So sometimes I can kind of tell, and sometimes it happens during the first session. But so I've changed the way I do business, and so now on the first session, so the first session is 2 hours. So I really share a lot about what hypnosis is and what it isn't, and how they program their minds for success beyond just hypnosis, and to focus on what you want instead of what you don't want. That's like the key. So so now they can pay the $300 for the 2 hour session, and it can be applied towards the package. So once I have the intake form and we're talking, and they get to experience the hypnosis, and sometimes they have to talk to their spouse and for the investment, and so they get an opportunity to experience the results, and then they can we can I guide them as to how many sessions, but they also play a role in that.
I always like to ask that because, all of that is hypnosis too, right? When someone goes to see their primary care physician, or they go to see the doctor will often close out the session by saying, okay, I'll see you as for a follow-up in 1 week. People are used to that. We as hypnotists don't always do that, right? But they are looking for that guidance just as much as anything else.
In my version of the world, almost every person could benefit from the Essential 4, and everybody could benefit from coaching. So everybody uses them. Even Tony Robbins needs help. So we could all get to another level, because it's so, as we know, it's so hard to see our own stuff. I really teach everything. If you've called me, it says like in a fun way to focus on what you want instead of what you don't want. And that's what it's the main, that to me is like kindergarten and advanced all at the same time. And, so my when I was going through a divorce 6 years ago, almost 7 years ago, my friends had to be like, Randi, You need to focus on what you want, not what you don't want. Even though I teach it, right? It's still, when you're in the throes of stress, you're not necessarily thinking very clearly, and you need that guidance that you give to everybody else.
Such a wonderful thing to share, because we often forget that too. We often forget that we can benefit from working with a hypnotist too, for heaven's sake, because it works. Hypnosis, that is.
Yes.
So then along your path, how did you create this? When did it come about? How did you decide, this is it, this is what everyone needs?
I don't know. I don't know the answer. Let me look. I don't even know what, you know, I think that it just started to evolve even when you're first beginning, right? And I'm like a newbie, and I literally made 2 audio recordings hypnosis audio recordings when I first started. And one was for, so I could feel calm and confident and in control, right? That was the audio. I was like, well, I need that. I'm sure my clients will need that. I need that so that I can grow this business. And I had belly issues, right? So I made a healing your body one. And so that's what I made in order to help me to evolve. But people still get great results. And that's what the thing I love about, you know, when I'm training my students, I'm like, hypnosis works, you know, and even when you're not completely congruent, you're not completely confident, it's still, you still get results. But I have to tell this story. I had this one client who, after when we were trying to decide, this was at least 10 years ago, maybe 12 years ago, and we were trying to decide how many sessions she needed. She upped me. She goes, oh no, I need that 12 session package, you know, because I had the 12 session package issue, and I still kind of do, you know, because it's a chunk of change. So it's like, I have to evolve. What do I feel most comfortable? I mean, I've honestly had to embrace this concept, and I really truly believe that every person on the planet would benefit from going through this. And if time and money didn't matter, then we would then I'd do hypnosis and coaching every week, like all the time, because we could always upgrade. There's always another, in my version of the world, there's always another layer of the onion to peel, to resolve, to release. And there's always another level, a level of joy, a level of confidence, a level of peace, fun, right?
Yeah, in fact, I heard that a minute ago. You said the phrase that you said was, I have to evolve. And I thought, yes, this is exactly right. What you're talking about is evolution, as opposed to, and this makes sense to me in terms of multi-session approaches. Because I think some people think of hypnosis as being, you know, like ordering a pizza. You know, I'm hungry today, so I'm going to go get my slice, and then, you know, and then it'll be over. But you're not talking about simple changes like that. You're really talking about lifestyle changes that are more generative and larger than that.
Yes,
Yeah.
right. We're not just resolving painful problems. We're helping, you know, we're helping you, create a bright and compelling future to help you be your best version of yourself. And so that's what I think of in my work, is that, yes, we're helping you overcome some problem or challenge or anxiety, depression, but there's an and there, and be the best version of yourself.
I see this on a lot of forums, hypnosis forums, Randy, for people, especially talking about children. And since you work with children, I'm curious. A lot of people question whether or not you want to do any kind of regression or looking back if you're dealing with a child. How do you feel about that? And how young is too young, or is there any too young, to do regression?
So I feel it out. I'm pretty intuitive in my class, my sessions and things. I've definitely done it with teenagers. I've done it in more playful ways, like, you know, a kid that was having trouble with storms, right? So, and he had an issue, you know, he was about to walk out the door, and, you know, this huge lightning and thunder thing, you know, so you can do it in a more playful way. And sometimes they don't understand but then sometimes they're like, oh yeah, I mean, I did it with like a kid in 8th grade, and he totally, or maybe it was in 6th grade, but he totally understood, and he went back to this thing. What was interesting is he was embarrassed. And so he couldn't tell me. So so lately, my latest thing, no matter what age they are, and so obviously with a little kid, it'd be do a little bit different, but I'm like, you have to promise me if we do regression on this session, because a lot people are not necessarily ready on the second session. So I wouldn't do that with kids. I don't do it on the first session with almost anyone anyway, let alone a kid. But he didn't want to tell me what was going on. So right now I tell people, you have to promise me that you're going to be there for that little you. Like, you're going to help that little you no matter what's going on. And that's a really important point that I want people to get if you're going to do regression. But if you're going to do it with little kids, I mean, you just make it playful. It's not serious. I mean, if they're good, I'm not talking about dealing with sexual abuse. You have a 10-year-old that's being, abused. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm I wouldn't, that's a different kind of thing. And you really would have to be prepared in a lot of ways for something like that. Did I answer your question?
In fairness, I think most of the people, when they're asking about kids like that, they're talking about things like nail biting or something like that. Although there's some bedwetting involved too. That can be a deeper seated issue too.
Mm-hmm. I do regression with everybody, but I do it different, with kids, and make sure they go to their superpowers place, and I like to get to the root cause of things. And if there is one there for them, especially kids or something, then it's great when they, have SpongeBob or whatever, whoever they love, to be with them and help them to change it. Whatever you do, change the submodalities, give them power, make them big and them small, go rescue that little one. It's just different. So when I do regression with adults and with kids in a way too, when I teach my students, I tell them to burp them, burp your clients. So it's like, B stands for belief. So you want to know what beliefs they created. Emotions is, what emotions are they feeling? Give them resources. That's the R, qualities, resources, so that they can deal with this. So like before it, and then, help them get positive learnings from that, to take the positive learnings. And, little kids can understand, they may not understand positive learnings, but you can give them, oh, well, you turned out, it was okay, right? You were strong, right? And they'd be like, yeah.
It's always interesting too, to think about all the people who come into our office are little kids. I don't care what age they are. They really are little kids. Sure. At any age.
Yes, and it's fascinating when you can actually hear it and come out of them, or when you're with your family, your friends, and you hear the little self yell about something. It's interesting to watch.
I'm curious about something, if I can, Randy, you said a minute ago that this isn't something, this isn't what you're not talking about, like a 10-year-old who's been sexually abused, for instance. Well, what if you get a 10-year-old who's been sexually abused? Is this not it seems to me that what you're talking about is a pretty adaptable protocol. Would you have to do something different, or would you be able to use this?
That is such a good question, and it's interesting to try to answer that without having had a 10-year-old that knows that they're being sexually abused, and has, who would bring them to.
Yeah. I mean, I suspect it would require some particular kind of rapport skills and stuff to be able to do it appropriately.
Yes.
But the technology, or the work that you've developed, is probably just as applicable, I would think.
Yeah, and having them obviously be disassociated, and and they have like all their resources around them, and I'm there with them, and making it like in a movie theater, or what, just rescuing the little kid. I'm going to have to really think about how I would approach something like that. It doesn't happen very often. It's kind of like an abreaction, right? Like, those don't happen very often. And so we teach everyone how to deal with it, but you don't have to deal with it hardly ever. And same with, I've had a lot of people who've been sexually abused, and I even had like I have a 21-year-old, no, she's 24 years old, and she believes that she was sexually abused. But when we did regression, she didn't go to any of that. She had some other stuff that she dealt with, and we waited to do regression for a few sessions with her because she was kind of scared, and then it didn't even come up, and she just was really doing like that healing, right? Taking the positive learnings from whatever happened in that past.
Cool. I've got a particular question. Milton Erickson, you've heard of this guy, right? He made a really interesting statement once, because all of these books about Erickson talk about the great successes that he had with clients and stuff. And so somebody asked him one day, they said, Dr. Erickson, every time we read about you, it's all these wonderful stories of great successes. And they said, but do you have any clients that you haven't succeeded with? And Erickson only thought for a moment, and he says, well, no. And then he said, but there are a number of them that I'm not finished with yet.
Ooh.
I think the thing that's interesting is that your information says that you're getting like 90% success rate from this. What do you, is there anything that you can tell us about what do you attribute that to? What makes it so different than the kind of results that other folks might be getting?
Well, it's kind of like the dog that won the lottery, like my dog. I just do what I do, right? So, but now that I don't know, I thought everybody did, but now that I teach it, I was like, okay, that's when we start to look at, well, what are we doing? What are we really doing that makes it effective, right? And so it's funny because this is what just came to me, but one of the things that has been a theme like I remember at HypnoThoughts is, and what I do is to start with is to love your client, right? Unconditional love or non-conditional love, right? To be able to see and know that you can take your client where they want to go, right? And if you're getting emotionally triggered or you look at them and judge them, that can play a role in their affect them and not get them to where they want to be. So loving your clients is a big thing. And I also get myself into a resourceful state. I cleanse my room and I get into a hypnotic state, or just at least where I ask for guidance. And so like I become more intuitive and download. And I think that's, when you do the work on yourself personally, that can actually help you be able to be that and be very present with your clients. So those are a couple of things that I think happens. And so I've been calling these things hypnotic enhancers, and really almost anything could be it. We could say when we compound suggestions, a suggestion could be a hypnotic enhancer. But if we go like nail down a little bit more about, enhance is to improve the quality, increase, strengthen, right? And hypnosis is a focused state of concentration, and hypnotherapy is a way of programming and reprogramming. So your mind for success and your body. So we've got, so what I've done is like this, I have the question, let me just find this question. So how can you enhance your clients' transformations? How can you enhance your clients' transformations? So those things just got downloaded as I would be working with clients. So one of the first things, so what I realized that if you have a theme, a very important theme, if you have like for me, my clients need to get the fact that they need to stop self-criticism, to become their own best friend, to have their back, right? And almost everything I do and talk about explains to them what the benefits and the problems with that, to the point where they sign an agreement. It says down here, they promise to stop self-criticism, stop getting down on themselves, and become their own best friend. That's part of the agreement with, the confidentiality and everything else in this success agreement. So that is sort of the overall theme. So if you have an overall theme, like loving yourself or whatever it is, then you want to make sure you're using things to reinforce that. And so that putting that on that agreement was just like, yes. So then I also enhance that and use hypnotic enhancers. Before I go a little farther into that, I also combine coaching with hypnosis. So the first session's 2 hours, and I for sure I already start coaching, right? If you're teaching them, I'm teaching them to focus on what you want instead of what you don't want. I deliver the suggestions in hypnosis too. But when they come back on the second session, first, of course, what went well is, what can we celebrate so that the reticular activating system, the RAS, can find some positive things. I have people who have come for sleep issues. They come for sleep issues. When they come back on the second session, I ask them what's been going well. They don't even mention anything about sleep. And finally, I'm like, well, how did you sleep? They're like, great. Like they went right over their head. It was just so normal and natural to be sleeping. I'm like, woo. So asking them to focus, what went well, what can we celebrate? And then doing coaching so my second session is a good hour and a half. So I'm coaching them. And then I have a lot of meat, if you will, also for the session. And when I do regression or whatever else I do during the session. And that is, I think, a big part of it. It's a longer session, they're longer sessions, but coaching combined with hypnosis. So I also like these hypnotic enhancers. So I always keep thinking about how can I enhance their change. And so, so one of the things that I do that I'm going to do with you guys is I'm not going to tell. So you're going to experience 2 hypnotic enhancers when I install the 4 L's for you guys. So you can get an idea of what it sounds like, feels like, looks like, and all that. And you'll understand a little bit more. So when I do regression, I at one point when we're doing inner child work, I will include a song for them to hold their younger self, 3 of their younger selves. They can just be the 2 of them, whatever it is, and they can sing, they can dance. I give them permission. I'll sing a little bit of it with them, but it really, there's a lot of emotion, a lot of release, a lot of cleansing, and I believe there's a shift on the cellular level when we do that. So I play a song. That's what I would call a hypnotic enhancer as well. So I think that's some of the things that I use audio recordings and guidebooks. So they get homework. If I'm a coach too, and they get this book, and I've got one, Step Into Your Power. This is their book, and it keeps tracks of their learning. It's got everything I'm teaching them, plus they and some exercises in here for them to do. I've got a weight loss one too. So, they use these and it's homework, and it helps them. It helps them. I always want to know what they want. I have them get clear on what they want. They have a magic wand, and now their pen is a magic wand, right? And what do you want to feel after the session? What do you want for yourself, for your session, for your life? So you get crystal clear, they get crystal clear, and you do these powerful techniques. I'm a doer in hypnosis.
Well, and it sounds like it's fun. I think a lot of people expect hypnosis to be very serious and mysterious, and they'll be knocked out and won't remember anything. But I make my experiences fun too. I think it makes it so it enhances. Well, I hadn't thought about it, but yes, it enhances the experience. They are enhancers, absolutely.
Yes. Yeah. Maybe this would, unless somebody wants to ask a question, this would be a good time to do a little process.
I would love to do a little process, and then I want to hear how it's different when you're working with athletes, if that's all right.
Okay.
I want to make sure that we save a little bit of time to talk about your work with athletes as well.
Oh, absolutely. I'd love that. Although Joni left, that would have been fun to have her on.
But Joni sent us a note here. She's gonna be listening to the replay. So
cool.
So hi,
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Joni and I did a 2-day pre-conference training at HypnoThoughts on sports performance, and she's amazing, absolutely amazing. So it was really, we had a great time. We had to plan for a year, as you probably know, when you do a joint venture like that, and it was intense and wonderful. But Okay, so do you guys want to do a little bit of a hypnotic experience?
Yeah.
This is just a little part of what I do because the first session can be pretty long, but it's a little fun. I think I mean, we all need it. So you want to get, if you're not already, some of you look super comfortable, but if you want to get comfortable, you're not going to fall asleep since it's late for
And
those who are.
Randy, let me interrupt just long enough to do a little piece of official business. If you're driving a car or operating heavy machinery, please do set those things aside and get comfortable, or pull over to the curb and get relaxed and kick back. Randy, take us on a journey.
Okay, I'm going to put on some music. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to hear it or not, but it's just nice background stuff. And I'm going to do a shorter version of what I would do, but I'm going to take you guys down to your superpowers place, your peaceful place. And so you can think of where you might want that now, where you might want that to be, whether it's indoors, outdoors, or whatever. But go ahead, if you haven't already, get comfortable and close your eyes. And on your next breath in, take a deep breath in and fill up your belly. Hold your breath in for as long as you comfortably can. And with your eyes closed, look up above your eyebrows, connecting with your higher self and your intuition. And then lower those eyeballs, tell yourself to relax, and feel a healing sound wave as you breathe out, flowing through you from the top of your head to the tips of your toes. And let's do that again. On your next breath in, take a deep belly breath in. Fill up your belly, hold it in, look up, connect with your third eye and your intuition. And when you lower the eyeballs, feel a healing sound wave going behind your eyes, relaxing the muscles there and all the way down to your toes as you breathe out. Let's do that one more time. Next breath in, take that deep breath in, hold it in, look up, connect with your higher self and intuition. And when you lower those eyeballs, picture that healing sound wave relaxing the muscles behind your eyes as you breathe out and all the way down to your toes. Now you can continue to deep breathe, you can resume normal breathing or both. Either way, begin to pay very close attention to the sound of my voice, as if memorizing every word you hear me say. Go ahead now and picture a set of stairs that leads you down to a place you can call your peaceful place, your superpowers place. And notice what your stairs are made of, and notice that peaceful place, also known as your superpowers place, down below. In a moment, I'm going to count backwards from 5 down to 1. You just imagine what it would be like to double your relaxation with every number you hear me say and every step you go down. So by the time you reach your peaceful place, perhaps you're 10 times more relaxed and 10 times more focused. Go ahead and feel the warmth of the radiant sun and see the bright blue sky. And imagine yourself now taking a step down from 10 down to 9 and double that relaxation. And then go ahead and take another step down, from 5 down to 4. And just let go even more. We're starting at 5, as I usually start at 10. And then go ahead and picture yourself, hear yourself, and feel yourself relax as you step down from 4 now down to 3. That's right. And then see and hear and feel yourself relax as you step down to 2. In a moment, I'll say the final number. I'll snap my fingers and you will arrive and immerse yourself in your peaceful place, your sacred space, your superpowers place. So with the final count of 1, step down now and arrive and immerse yourself in your peaceful place. Look around and notice the beauty around you, what the ground or the floor is made of, the sand. If there's grasses or flowers or tall, majestic trees, become aware of them now. If there's water, hear the sounds of the water and see its beauty. Go ahead and find a place there for you to sit or lay or float, and get even more comfortable, more relaxed, and more at ease. And if there's animals there, become aware of them now, welcoming you and greeting you. That's right. So just allow any sounds you hear in your room or outside your room to relax you deeper and fade away as you focus and concentrate on what you're doing in the sound of my voice. Also allow every suggestion that I say for your highest good to flow deep into your mind, into your subconscious mind, and make a deep, lasting impression, so that from this moment forward, you are and you feel so much more calm, so much more confident, and so much more in control. In control of your thoughts, in control of your feelings, in control of your actions and your reactions. Now, to ensure all of this, in just a moment, we're going to install the 4 L's so that you, from this moment forward, learn from every life experience, laugh at things that used to bother you, let things go that no longer serve you, and love yourself more and more every day in every way. Right now, we're going to begin to install the first L, learning from every life experience. From this moment forward, your subconscious and conscious works together, and you have a natural ability to learn from every life experience because you ask yourself the resourceful question, what can I learn from this? What can I learn from this? And when you ask yourself a resourceful question, like what can I learn from this? You get a resourceful answer and you can let it go. You can move on. You can change your state from a negative state to a positive state very quickly, just like that. So imagine you already have this ability to recognize there is no such thing as failure, only feedback, and everything in life can be a learning experience. And that from this moment forward, you ask yourself, what can I learn from this? What can I learn from this? So pick a situation that would have bothered you a little bit in the past, but instead you say, what can I learn from this? And you notice that you learned something from it. And you notice when you learn something from it, you let it go, you move on, you change how you feel from that negative state to a positive state, just like that. So go ahead, and once you've done that, nod your head. Good. Very good. From now on, from this moment forward, your subconscious and conscious works together, and you have a natural ability to learn from every life experience, and especially the ones that used to bother you, as you say, what can I learn from this? And the second L is laughing at things that used to bother you. From now on, from this moment forward, you can see the humor that you couldn't see before in your behaviors and other people's behaviors. From now on, from this moment forward, you have a natural ability to laugh at things that used to bother you. When you laugh, you release those chemical endorphins that make you feel good. When you laugh, you can change your state very quickly from a negative state to a positive state, just like that. So you might take a moment to recognize that you can laugh and see the humor that you couldn't see before. And when you laugh, you release those chemical endorphins. So maybe you imagine you're watching a really funny movie like Happy Gilmore, or a really funny comedian, and you laugh. And when you laugh, you let it go. You move on, you change how you feel from that negative state to a positive state, just like that. So imagine now, pretend that you already have this ability to laugh at things, to see the humor that you couldn't before. So pick a situation that would have bothered you a little bit in the past, but instead you laugh and you let it go and you move on. And I'm going to play something for you to help you laugh at that situation or that ridiculous behaviors of somebody else's or even your own. Wonderful. Very good. From now on, from this moment forward, you have a natural ability to see the humor and laugh at things. And you know, when you laugh, you release those chemical endorphins. You change how you feel from that negative state to a positive state, just like that. And that makes the third L so much easier. When you laugh or learn, you can let it go. And from this moment forward, your subconscious and conscious works together, and you have a natural ability to let things go that no longer serve you, to let negative thoughts go, let negative situations go, let negative people go. From this moment forward, you have a natural ability to let things go that no longer serve you. And maybe you imagine you're Harry Potter or Hermione, and you can pluck a negative thought right out of your head or a negative feeling right out of your body and throw it behind you and let it melt into the ground. Maybe you feel like you've got a big, heavy backpack weighing you down and you want to let it go. So you literally imagine that strap sliding off your back and you feel that whole side of your body so much lighter. And then you imagine the strap of the other side of your body and that strap sliding off. And now that whole side of your body is so much lighter. You might picture that backpack sliding down your back. You hear it hit the floor and you let it go. You move on. You change how you feel from a negative state to a positive state, just like that. So imagine you already have this ability to let things go that no longer serve you. Pick a situation that would have bothered you a little bit in the past, but instead you learn or laugh and you let it go because it no longer serves you. When you've done that, nod your head. Good. Very good. It'll be easier and easier for you from this moment forward to let things go that no longer serve you. And the fourth L brings it all together. Loving yourself. Learning to love and accept yourself more and more every day, in every way. So imagine perhaps that you are a client of mine and you signed an agreement. Perhaps you imagine signing it right now. An agreement to yourself. Make a promise to yourself to stop self-criticism, to become your own BFF, your own best friend, to have your back. Make that promise right now. I promise I'll make it even easier for you to do this. Now, as you make that commitment to learn to love and accept yourself more and more every day, to make it easier for you to do that, you're going to do what's called heart breathing. So right now, focus your breathing on your heart. So the next time you breathe in, imagine you're breathing in through your heart. And as you breathe out, imagine you're breathing out through your heart. Just focus your breathing on your heart. And as you breathe in, imagine you're breathing in through your heart and out through your heart. And then you can imagine you're breathing in love, unconditional love, universal love, non-conditional love. Imagine you're breathing in love and out love. So love is in you and surrounding you. And to amplify that wonderful feeling of love, now it could be joy or gratitude, but to amplify that wonderful feeling, in just a moment, invite your heart to open and then see and hear and feel your heart opening. Perhaps like a rose bud opening to magnificent purple rose, or like a door opening, tunnel flowing, or vortex spinning. So if you haven't already, invite your heart to open and see and hear and feel your heart opening so you can really breathe in and out that wonderful feeling of love, unconditional love, breathing it in and out, in and out. And to amplify that feeling even more, choose a moment in your lifetime where you felt very loving or very loved or both. Now that moment could have been yesterday or many years ago. It could have been petting an animal, holding someone, being held, dancing, just feeling good. Choose a moment in your lifetime where you felt very loving or loved or both. And in a moment, you're going to time travel back to that memory. Now you might have a few, just pick one that stands out for now, one that's going to bring you the most feeling. I'm going to count backwards from 3 down to 1 and then gently snap my fingers. Just allow each number to relax you and deepen you and take you back in time to that wonderful memory so you can relive it with all your senses as if it's happening now. So at the count of 3, begin time traveling back to that wonderful memory. 2, just double your relaxation. With the count of 1, be in that loving memory now. Go through it. See the details. Hear the sounds. Feel the feelings. Feel the textures. Feel the love. Rewind it, replay it, and make it bigger and brighter, and really feel that love. Unconditional love, universal love. Might want to do it one more time. Rewind it and replay it and really feel that loving feeling. Recognize the real you, love. This state, this emotion, this high vibration is the real you. Breathe this feeling into your heart and into every cell of your entire being. Love. And make that promise to become your own best friend, your own BFF. To be there for yourself, to have your back the way you have everyone else's. Make that promise again to love and accept yourself more and more every day. And to help you do this, to stop self-criticism, become your own best friend, I have a gift for you. And the gift is a bracelet. And the bracelet works like this. You put the bracelet on your wrist, and the next time you catch yourself saying something negative or critical about yourself, you say stop. You see a big red stop sign, and you immediately change your statements to something positive and truthful. That's the most important part. Then you take your bracelet off of your wrist and you put it on the other wrist. And then the next time you catch yourself saying something negative or critical about yourself, you say stop. You see that big red stop sign, and you immediately change your statements to something positive and truthful. And that's the most important part. Then you take your bracelet off of your wrist and you put it on the other wrist, with the goal being keeping the bracelet on the same wrist, first up to 1 day and eventually 1 week. If you would like this gift, imagine me putting it in your hand now, because you can always find a bracelet to remind you of this, to use this. So imagine me putting this bracelet in your hand now and get into an attitude of gratitude on how this might help you create and achieve your goals and heal in every way, loving yourself more and more every day. Good. Very good. From this moment forward, your subconscious and conscious work together, and you are learning to love and accept yourself more and more every day in every way. And in just a moment, this is the you that's going to emerge, the one that has a natural ability to learn from every life experience, to laugh at things that used to bother you, to let things go that no longer serve you, and love yourself more and more. I'm going to count from 1 up to 5. When I get to 5, I'll snap my fingers and this new you is going to emerge. Starting right now with the count of 1, take a big, deep energy breath in. 2, speeding up with this wonderful feeling of well-being. 3, another big, deep energy breath in, into the present, into a new mind, a new body, a new you. 4, speeding up even more with a lot of energy, and with the count of 5, open those eyes. Hi. Yes, tears can happen. Welcome back, everybody. Put on your magic bracelets. I really do have a bracelet, and that I give to people, and now I have to mail it to them, but it just hearts and says enlightened living on it.
That's lovely. Well, that was
lovely, Randy. Beautiful.
Yeah, so the bracelet's a hypnotic enhancer, and the laughing pills. Yeah, Cheryl has plenty of these. Lots of people do. It's kind of fun.
yeah, great. We'll be back in a moment to ask you.
Well, maybe I should tell about my vision board or something right now, or what do you want? You can.
That was really lovely. Is that a typical first session experience?
Well, see, my first session is super long, so that's the end of that first session. So So I mean, like in the book, there's a whole script. The first session is very script related. I mean, you can use the script to get started, to understand that there's an outline, and there's same with the regression, but it's much harder to. You have to kind of know what you're doing. Not kind of, And I train people, and you have to know what you're doing with regression, I believe. But with that first session, besides, making sure you have your little happy pills or you laugh or laughing sounds, so that's just 1/3 of the session, actually.
Well, I wonder if you could just help me sort this out, because I'm a little confused about 4 essentials. And now we just had 4 L's, by the way. You really seem to have a thing about 4s.
I do, for sure.
And there's the burp, 4 things. Is like the 4 L's one of the 4 essentials, or how would you tell me what the 4?
Yes. So the essential 4. This is the training manual, and it's the success system. So it's 4 sessions. Now, the first session, I just did a taste of the first session, a part of the first session, with you, installing the 4 L's. That's part of the first session that I do with pretty much every client. Like, everyone can pretty much do that. Although that I sometimes have to say about the loving themselves, that people get really tripped up on. They don't have a loving memory. They don't know which one to pick. So that's not always easy. So there can be joy or gratitude or just something. But that's one part of one component of the first session of the Essential 4. The Essential 4 is 4 sessions.
Got it.
Does anyone else have questions about that? And you're starting to understand the hypnotic enhancer concept?
Yeah.
Thinking about what you can do. So even one of my students, so during timeline therapy, right, when they're going to drop out a memory that they don't want anymore, I'm going with the dump truck. She's like, oh, I found on Apple Music a dump truck. I was like, great idea.
By the way, yeah, I have to tell you, and I noticed this when people use music, and I'm impressed that Zoom handled the music reasonably well, because there are times you're just playing it in the air in your room, right? It's not lined in or anything.
Right.
And there's sometimes when I've seen it do so badly, but I think Zoom is getting just better bit by bit with things like that. In any case, I showed you before we were on camera, so this isn't on the recording or anything, but I showed you the lake in Wisconsin, and it's funny because your music had this Native American flute. This is reservation land that I grew up on, and so it inadvertently had a regression kind of built into it.
Wow.
That was really, really lovely.
Could all of you come up with a loving memory?
Sure.
Yeah. That the Zoom communication. Yeah. Not all our clients can, and people get tripped up on that one, but.
Randi, I have a question. When you do this and they have to come up with these things, do they come up with them spontaneously, or do you talk about it in the pre-talk?
No, I'm already doing so much in the first session, but yeah, sometimes I don't talk about it. They have to come up with it. I just take more time or whatever. And then they get, now I can on Zoom so much, they get the recording so they can re-listen to it. And most people do it, but some, and you don't want them to come up with some, they're coming in because, they don't talk to their child won't talk to them. I mean, you don't want them to use some big thing because they're not ready for it. This is just, what can you learn from that? It's just a concept. It's a great concept. So even if they don't do that in part of the install, you're still installing the concept. And it was such a wonderful day for me when I all of a sudden in popped into my head one time when I was having trouble trying to resolve an issue. And all of a sudden I thought, well, what can I learn from this? It's like, yes, it's so like, and that's what I also tell my clients, that it's really subtle. Like, you're not going to notice when your headache goes away, right? So you're not going to know, may not notice till the next day. If something doesn't bother you that would have usually bothered you, you're not going to necessarily notice. But the next day you might be like, oh, that would have upset me.
Did you get pushback ever on the homework aspect? Oh, I didn't think I was going to have to do homework. I thought this was just going to be magic.
Totally. Oh
And
my
how do you
God.
handle that? How do you handle that?
Well, when I first made them, the guidebooks, I was like, I literally was like, look, if you're not going to do it, you're going to hand me a $50 check. And when you completed it, I'll give it back to you. But I haven't really had to do that anymore. And some people, like I have most of my clients in the last couple of months, are like 3/4 of my clients have been like in their 20s or college related, and with athletes too. And so they're just going through a crazy time. They're trying to, they're anxious, and there's a lot of stuff going on. I forgot what I was saying.
Well, then I want to step in and talk about athletes for a minute, because I want to make sure we don't run out of time. And I don't know, you teased us earlier that you had 2 processes you were going to take us through. I hope one of those is getting.
I did?
Well, I thought you did.
I don't.
Maybe I made it up. Maybe I promised that for you, but wouldn't that be nice? You gave us another one. Something that might get us in the zone. I mean, I love that whole concept. You say that you have a 4-step process for getting athletes in the zone. And I love the concept. For one thing, Chicago, the zone is very Michael Jordan-ish, right? Getting into the zone.
Right.
But we always get into the zone, I think, when we do all sorts of things. I like to use this as an example. I don't always have a cut on my arm, but I don't know if you can see a little tiny cut on my hand there. I saw it one day, I wonder how I got that. Well, I use something like that as an example to clients that we go in and out of hypnosis quite naturally all the time. I mean, do you ever look at yourself and go, how did I get that bruise? Or how did I get that cut? I was so in the zone of doing whatever I was doing that I didn't even notice whatever it was ripping my skin apart, right? So we naturally go in and out of the zone, but it's more important, and what I'm talking to you about is getting into the zone on purpose, for a purpose. How do we get ourselves into the zone on purpose? Because we do it naturally. We know it's easy, but how do we do it on purpose?
Okay, so, well, the zone is alpha, right? So we know alpha is also a light state of hypnosis, a light state of meditation. So you go in and out of the zone many times, but we want to do it deliberately. And how many of you are familiar with it has different names. It's an NLP technique called the circle of power, circle of excellence, Yeah. So that is really profound for athletes. It's profound for everyone, but that's what I use. So like, this is my peak performance methods book, and it's got all of that in there, right? It's got but I mean, I can take you, we have to stand up and to do the circle of power. That right there is very effective. So at getting yourself or getting people into the zone, right? If you take the moment to do it, and we're just installing, it's just a type of anchor. But it's a standing up anchor with a circle in front of you. So what I've done with that is once that's installed, so the 4-step process is, so you have a clear intention. So you can deep breathe a couple of times to get yourself kind of relaxed, and maybe a little bit, brainwaves slowing down a little bit, and deep breathe a couple of times, and then have a clear intention. So, step 1 would be deep breathing. Step 2 would be have a clear intention, goal, whatever you want, you can call it whatever you want, but of some kind of outcome that you want. like I could, you know, when I was, you know, my first time presenting at the Mid-America Hypnosis Conference, I was like, you know, I'm in the hallways. The first time I'm presenting it for my colleagues, you know, and I'm like nervous. And so I literally was walking down the hallway of the hotel, like every step I stepped into my circle of power, every step, deliberate steps into this circle of power that had installed me in this, you know, memory of this great state and this great color and feeling. And so that was like, helped me tremendously. I had a swimmer who used her circle of power to on the podium, what's it called, the block, and she shaved off 2 seconds at a 50-meter swim at the state meet, like not 0.2, like she got herself into the zone, and as a result of just the circle of power. And you know, the swimmer, the diver getting her best dive ever after just doing that. So it's pretty cool, especially effective for athletes. But what I like to have them do, like I said, is you breathe a few times, depending on how much time you have the clear intention, you get yourself into the circle of power, which is in essence the zone. And it's a great manifesting thing that I'm sharing with you too. Once you're in your circle of power and you've already have a clear intention, then you vividly imagine the intention as if it already exists, right? So you go through it as if you can laugh at, you know, the ridiculous things that are happening in the world, right? Or you know, that you do, you know, shave off 2 seconds at a 50-meter swim. So that's the 4-step process in a nutshell. The circle of power, we have to install that so you have ready to rock it. You know, that in and of itself can do it. If you go and decide to use your circle of power, you know, when you're going to go right at the, you know, I decided one of my goals is to be a marketing extraordinaire this year, because that is something that I need to be better at. Karen, you're amazing at it. And I want to be, you know, a better marketer. So if I'm going to take a moment to get into my circle of power and get focused, you know, get totally focused, so, you know, information can come through and I'm relaxed and resourceful. So, I mean, I can take you guys, I mean, if you want me to, it'll take a few minutes though to do the circle of power. You can go to my YouTube and do, you know.
That I was going to ask you anyway, how you can get your books and how we can find out more about you and how we can get in touch with you and things like that. Before we even do that, you've got a workshop coming up that I'm pretty intrigued with, because it's about manifesting, it's about vision boards, but it's got a twist to it, you've said. So I'm intrigued. How are you going to do a vision board that's any different from any other vision?
Well, I mean, you already probably know what I'm going to say, even though you don't know what I'm going to say, because we're hypnotists, right? So many people out there doing vision boards, you're just making a vision board. So here's my, so I live in Northwest Indiana near Chicago, and I have two workshops that are very popular. And one is the vision board, but I haven't done it in a while. And the other one is past life regression, which you would never believe, in Northwest Indiana. But so here is my, you know, this is an old one, so it's not, but when we do them live and in person, everybody, you know, so this is my vision board, right? And so I had this one client, he's like thinking you had to have like exact goals and things like, I'm like, this little boy isn't an exact goal. It's a great feeling. When I see him, I feel like a superhero, and it brings up a feeling. And that, you know, so when you create a vision board that's beyond just like very strict goal setting, that's a really great way for you to break through the conscious analytical mind, being program your subconscious. So then you will have things that you actually want on here. But obviously, as a hypnotist, then, so most people they just do vision boards, they're not going to do hypnosis. Well, I'm going to hypnotize everybody, right? We know that's a way of programming the subconscious. So is making a vision board. It automatically bypasses the critical factor, and because it's the language of the subconscious. So I'm also going to hypnotize everybody to create and achieve their goals. But before we even do that, I'm going to take you through a powerful goal setting process that I learned from one of the Blair singer. I don't know if anybody's familiar with him, but I got trained with him. I trained the trainer years ago. And it's a really profound, it helps you really tune into your big why. And when you know your big why, then you can really move and have momentum. So it's a fun goal setting process that also breaks through the conscious analytical and can really get to the subconscious and make change and break those barriers to success. So there's 3 components to it, and that's why it's different. It's not just making a vision board.
I like the feeling element that you brought to it. That's been missing from my vision boards because I have things that, yes, there's something that I want, but I don't have the emotion attached to it. And we all know you got to have some emotion attached to it for that suggestion to really stick, don't you? Here we go. This is what you were saying a moment ago. We are hypnotists. We know all of this stuff. But if we're in our own head and putting the pictures up there, and for some reason that's not working for me, I don't call Randy and say, why is my vision board not working? Or any of my other hypnotist friends, right? And once we get it out in the open, then it kind of does help. Thank you for that. That was a wonderful add to that.
Yeah.
Cool.
And I want to know if anyone has any questions before we move ahead or open this back up or press Randy into doing one other technique with this. Does anybody have any questions about any of this?
We've got about, by the way, 11 minutes left, just so I mentioned. So, so do make sure if you've got some questions that that you seize the moment and that you ask them. Otherwise, well, Karen and I will ask them. I want to know, and by the way, anybody wants to shout out a question, just go ahead, open up your microphone and do it.
Joy, did you want?
Well, you had asked Karen, but I didn't hear the answer, how one would get the books or the training or the workshops.
My fault, I didn't give her a chance for that yet, but this would be a really good time, Randy, to let us know.
She did say she wanted to be a better marketer, so I think we should give her an opportunity to let us know how can people get involved, get more information from you.
Well, okay, so you can just contact me. So there's a couple ways you can contact me, and you can see my name. It's Randi Light, RandiLight. So randylight@gmail.com. You can call me or text me at 219-929-8726. My website is randylighthypnosis.com. So that's one place you can get the books. And also Amazon, you can get the books. And like Amazon put my book on sale. I'm like, well, who told them to do that? I'm like, so who's gonna look, not so, but I can mail you the books too, sometimes that's nice. And then we get a personal connection too. Because I don't know who gets, the books when they go to Amazon very much. So I also have a Facebook business page, Enlightened Living with Randi Light, and, do all kinds of things there, and Facebook Lives. And so did that do it? Did I give you every single way?
Well, I think maybe. I'll tell you what, you mentioned a minute ago this idea that is intriguing me about, when you know your big why, and I love that, by the way. I just really love that, and I don't mean to put you on the spot. So, but if you can, I'm wanting to know if you could tell us either what your big why is, or some examples of things that the people have shared with you.
Well, I haven't done it yet. It's January 23rd, the workshop. I haven't done it in a few years, so I don't even remember, to be honest, what people's were. But I do know mine. It's funny that you brought that up, because I was going to mention I'm part of the 1 Million Meditators, and I would love for you guys to join the movement. And so all these people, the 1 Million Meditators, every few months we have an event where we're trying to get 1 million or more people to meditate together over a 48-hour period over all over the planet, because of all the research demonstrating that it has a positive effect on ourselves and the nation and the planet. And so my big why, so my mission is to raise the consciousness or elevate the consciousness of humanity and move us forward into love. And so that is my big why. And I realized, I believe that as we heal ourselves and heal our history and learn to love ourselves, that's what we're doing. We're raising our vibration. And it's not just a belief, it's proof. There's proof now, right? That's the beauty of quantum physics and Dr. Joe Dispenza and heart math, that this is all very real and can be proven and demonstrated. So I want people to love themselves. And so I made a Love Yourself quiz. It'll come out, I think, in February. Now I'm going to have a master class as well. So, if you want to, so you can get a free coaching call with me, by going to my website and get it. And then you'll be on my email, so you could, grab on to and find out about some of these things. But, and we can do a coaching call. It's a 20 to 30 minute to help you to break through a block or something, obviously not a giant one in 20 to 30 minutes, but we can do some processes there. So go to my website and click on the, complimentary coaching call if you want something like that. Cause like I said, I believe everyone could benefit. So big whys, right? So why did you become a hypnotist? Cause it works, cause it heals, cause yeah, it's fascinating. So everybody is different, but if you know why you're doing it and not doing it as because you're trying to prove yourself because your parent, blah, 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 right? So that's sort of what gets flushed out and cleared, so that you're not doing it for that reason. You're doing it for your own personal growth experience reason.
There's something in here that is so lovely to me. And I was talking to my class about that this weekend, and it's weird for me to say this, Randy, but it is absolutely radical. And that is the notion of not only, I'm glad that you want your clients to love themselves, and that's beautiful, but also you said, love your clients. And I think, God, it is so important for us to have an appreciation of how it is that we are connected. There's something so incredibly intimate about what it is that we do. And my experience is that a lot of therapists have been taught, keep yourself safe, man, hold it, keep a distance, and no, loving your clients is magic. And so I am just, delighted that that's a part of the way that you talk about this. And yeah, so anyway, I'm just gushing over you, Randy, and and
yes, let's all send that love. You can just do it from even a distance, because that's what we're doing these days anyway. Yeah. I do want to say that I have seen some kids, some live, like the I was working with a 6-year-old and an 8-year-old, and they came live. I didn't want to do that online. Yeah. But I'm going to encourage everybody to work on yourself, whether it's with me or any of these other amazing hypnotists here. But definitely, we can help you. We all can help each other.
Yeah. Besides, it's fun. And when we do love our clients, like you said, the clients get that. I've got a number of clients who come once a month or once every few months for a mental massage with Karen. And I'm convinced, absolutely convinced, that what they come back for is that unconditional love, because it's the one place in their life where they are absolutely unconditionally loved. They can say anything, and we find the positive in that.
Yes, I agree. And until they will start to do it for themselves. It's like we can be so mean to ourselves, we don't even realize it. We don't, if we're overwhelmed, it's because we're not, trusting that we'll take care of it or be able to. Or
there are people who have an external locus of control. They just don't, and some of the things that we do with them is help them form that internal awareness. But for someone who has that strong external locus of control and tends to be a perfectionist, man, they really like to have somebody who actually just lets them be them and it's okay. And it's the one time probably in their life where they can just let go and let that perfection go for a minute. I gave up. I'm so delighted that I gave up perfectionism several years ago. I'm not perfect at it yet, but I gave it up, and I'm really thrilled with it.
So when you gave it up, so what are you doing instead?
The third L is letting go. The third
Letting go. Yes. Yeah. Okay. You're just letting things go. You're just letting things
Well, I
go.
don't just let things go. I mean, although my hair, I have done that because this is an internal experiment that I'm doing. I'm coming up on 1 year without a haircut.
Yeah.
Or yeah, or the highlights or anything. It's amazing. But now, even if I could go back to my stylist, which in Chicago it's kind of iffy, if I could go back, I would wait until my 1 year mark now, because now I've got a goal. I want to see what it looks like 1 year after not having a haircut. Makes life a whole lot easier. I don't have to schedule those appointments and do that and do all the round brushing and stuff with it. Anyway.
Wait, Christy, I think had a question. Yeah.
I did, and I know we only have just a couple of minutes. I actually was just curious if anybody knew or anybody could suggest one marketing tip. I actually was in Michael's class over the weekend, and I was the one who said, I'm from New Orleans, Louisiana. I was the one who said the economy crashed on us. I also have a full-time job, and I have a full-time practice, but I would like it to be fuller. I would love to transition to do this 100%. Time is, a very small issue, but I am finding it a little more difficult than I had anticipated about 3 years ago to bridge the gap. And I know that I am not doing the best job, and I know that it's going to happen when it is supposed to happen. And I was just curious if you guys had any advice about that, or should I just manifest and let it happen as it is supposed to happen?
What's your leverage for change?
I sure do want it, and I sure do work extremely hard. I would just
What it do you want?
I want to be in full-time practice only for myself. I want to see, probably 10 clients a week, and then I'll be able to break off from, my full-time job when that happens.
I guess that was my point, is the leverage point is breaking off from that full-time job, because then you are hell bent to make this a success. You don't have any other option.
Yeah.
Right now, you've got another option that's pretty comfortable.
Well, how are people finding out about you?
So I just started a marketing program. Well, I started a marketing or started working with a marketer, and it's not as I suspected. It is a lot of here, let me show you and you do, which when I signed up, it was, oh, I'm going to do some posting in social media and things like that. I mean, I see clients, I see a couple a week, but I just, at least a couple a week, obviously some more, some less. I would just love to be able to bridge the small gap, or I'm not looking for a secret or magic. I want it to happen. I am taking steps on this journey to make it happen. I just am, like I said, experiencing a little more skepticism than I would have liked, although it has gotten better. And I feel like it is probably something in my message or something that I am not. I put it to you this way. Working with physicians, I find tough. I do it. That's pretty much what I wanted to go into. But the liability, I find, is what most of them are afraid of. And I understand, because I've been working in medicine for 18 years. So I do understand. But I really just thought something about me could bridge that gap, could get over that hump. The rapport. I mean, I have an amazing reputation, and I always develop rapport with lots of physicians, which is probably why it was so surprising to me that I would have a hard time getting clients from these physicians. So if anyone has any suggestions, not that we have to spend a whole bunch of time on that, I would.
I did notice, by the way, and I might call your attention to it, and other people listening in the chat room, people have posted a number of thoughts for you in terms of organizations and places that might be useful for you to get some exposure through, like the Rotary Club, the Optimist Club, Kiwanis Lions Club, Chamber of Commerce. You know, Patty Scott here in Orlando seems to have just done or not in Orlando, she's in Tampa, but when she first moved here, she became like a delegate for the Chamber of Commerce. So she was like at everybody else's ribbon cuttings and all of those things. But I'll tell you what, she built this absolutely incredible practice by just really getting engaged in something like that took her out in the community and introduced her to a whole lot of people.
So part of it would be who would be your ideal client, and then think about where those people go.
Where did they go? Exactly.
And
So
that
you might
medical
find it-
attachment that you had on it is kind of a fancy thing too.
What?
How can you parlay what medical information you had? You said you work in some kind of medical field. Is that what you said?
I do. I work in surgery.
Okay, so that medical knowledge can certainly enhance what you're offering. That could be a really big niche market for you.
In fact, it occurs to me, of course, you know what you like, Christy, but it seems to me like pre-surgical anxiety and all that sort of stuff that people deal with is so. You've got something to bring to that, and
Right.
that other people don't.
Yeah, which is actually why I got into this, and unfortunately, the chief of surgery put a stop to that because of the liability. I'm like, it's really, there's zero liability. Anesthesia carries more anyway, so you get it.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much that is what I'm trying to break through.
Yeah.
I find it's the hardest with the scientists. Gosh.
Well, you need to get away from that guy.
Yeah, yeah. Make some contact with Seth Deborah Roth.
Yeah.
She definitely will bring that medical business to the fore. And she does hypnosis and anesthesia all the time. Seth Deborah Roth, she'll be a great contact for you.
Thank you.
Hire a coach. They help.
I
Get my
realize-
complimentary coaching call.
So if I can gather this together here, Randy, we have just loved you. We really appreciate you being here with us tonight and sharing all the stuff that you have. I do want to remind everybody, and so hang on, Randy, because we're going to give you a send off. But I do want to remind everybody that, again, you can get CEUs for being here. Go to your IACT or IMBHA website or whatever it is that you do for your organization to claim your CEUs and tell them you were here and that you learned so much from Randi Light's presentation. The replays will be posted tomorrow round about noon. So let your friends know, or when you go, there was that one thing that she said that I really want to hear a second time. Well, it's going to be available to you. So there we are. I tell you what we're going to do, Randy. So are you ready for this? Are you open to receive?
I'm open to receive.
Because
Yeah.
what we are going to do is we are going to open up everybody's microphones. Oh, except you got to open them up yourself with this.
Please open your mic.
So open your mics, everybody, and then we'll just all have a chance to say goodnight to Randy and tell her how much we love her being here. So thank you, Randy.
Thank
Thank you very much,
you.
Randy.
Thanks, Randy.
you.
Appreciate it.
Awesome.
Beautiful. Thank you. Awesome.
Wonderful.
Wonderful. Yeah, wonderful. All right, so we'll see you all next month. Have a great
Thank you.
night.
Soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Thank you, guys.